Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Chili Phillies Not Tutorials. And this week, I'm going to talk to you about how I made this weird top with a cutout of it. So, basically, this week has been such a weird week in terms of wanting to make something. I don't know. I guess as a creative, and something I've realized over the last however many years is that, there'll be some days and some weeks where, you have an idea and you'll mash it out and you'll know exactly what to do. And then there'll be some weeks where you just, flounder all week and you don't really know what you're producing or how to get to that end result or anything like that. And so this week, I don't know, I had this idea at the top of the week that I wanted to do a top that sort of had an image on it, but I wanted to make them as two separate pieces. So, make the body part and then sort of after the fact make the image and then stick them together to make, one final piece. But when I started off this week, I wasn't even sure necessarily what sort of portrait or image I wanted to do. I did have some sort of idea I wanted to do something Survivor related, because this week was the first week of the next season of Survivor, and if you didn't know, I was once on that show, unfortunately. No, I did. It is what it is. But yeah, I was just like, maybe I'll celebrate that experience by producing content in that way. But I was just a bit stumped, to be honest. And so along the way, I was entertaining the fact that this week's episode would be about basics. The basics of how I crochet and what I do to make what I do. But one of the things I realised is that, sort of showing people the struggles to get to the end result is just as valid as showing literally exactly what I do as my artistic practice. So I guess this is more of a vlog than anything else. But at the top of the week, I did have this idea of sort of lots of gold trim, a solid colour, and then, an inset image. I wanted to do some sort of image of JLP, I think, and that sort of was floating around for a while, and then some people were like, oh, yeah, I'd rather an image of yourself. So that, I don't know, I think I and ahed about that way too much. But I think I do have an idea what I want to do. It's just, there's another step to take before I do a portrait of that. So I think I'll get there. It's just right now, I'm not there. But it was just really funny because at one point in time, I got really stumped in terms of how I even wanted this part to look. And it was just really funny because yesterday, so Friday, I went to the Chanel exhibition at NGV. It was fine. I've never been a big fan of Chanel as a brand or anything like that. But it was interesting. But I'd give it 3 stars. But even though I was going on Friday, I was like, stuff it. I'm just going to go to NGV again on Wednesday. Because, okay, so here's a fun fact that I'm actually going to say. But my favourite room in NGV is that room that's just paintings, paintings on top of paintings, because I don't know, I've loved that room ever since I first saw it 10 plus years ago or whatever it is. I don't even know how long it's been there, but I feel like it was a long time ago that I first saw it, because I just love the idea that there's a room of these old paintings and they're all just stacked all on top of each other. So each painting's individual worth is so diminished by the fact that it's right next to another gold framed painting. I just love that idea that it's just there's these old paintings and they're just all here. I don't know, there's just something about that I just think is so funny. But yeah, so I like that aesthetic of sort of the gold trims everywhere, the red background, and then I would have wore this with some brown pants yesterday if I'd finished it by then. But I physically had to go there to feel that inspiration because I knew there were other rooms that were different colours, there were other rooms of different paintings and objects, but I just needed to like physically go there for some weird reason, or else I wasn't going to get anything done. And then when I got to Thursday afternoon, that was only when I had just like started finishing this thing. And I know it looks like I'm really like booby right now, but it's because it does end. But it was just sort of funny because I'd spent all week just like faffing around so much to sort of like get to an end result. And then all I ended up doing was making this top. Because by the time I got to starting to do sort of like the portrait, I started doing it. Okay, wait. I'll show you what I did. So this is just the box of yarn, just so it was all in one spot. So originally what I wanted to do was do one giant panel. So I was working on this one giant panel that would have gone all down my body, and it would have been like a giant frame, like a giant portrait, gold frame, and then the rest would have just been a functional top, just like same. But then this was growing out to be like massive. Like, I don't know if I wanted to wear something that huge, because I do want to start making things that I can wear out and about. And obviously I probably wouldn't wear this other than to like the club. So I wouldn't wear this anytime soon. And then once I finished this idea, I started making a smaller portrait, which was this. But as you can sort of tell, the colours are just a bit all over the place, which I don't quite like. Like, the blues just fully clash. Like, they don't... And sometimes, you know, that quality is kind of nice, but I think when it comes to wanting to do an actual portrait, here's a, in retrospect, sort of, like, note, but, like, I think I might actually purposely buy yarn for that portrait, because there's nothing more satisfying, especially when you're doing something like cross-stitch or embroidery, sort of, doing the colours one at a time, and then sort of seeing, as you go along, the image sort of assemble. But when it looks like this, it just sort of looks like, what the hell is this going to be? It doesn't even look like anything. It just looks like a pile of rando colours. So yeah, so I just don't think that will be the route I'll go when I finally do the portrait for this. I think I might make a different top for what I have in my mind. But yeah, I feel like this project's going to have to go two different directions. I think I'm going to make a new top that's going to have a different portrait, which is going to be myself. So that's project 1 or whatever. And then I don't know how I'm going to resolve this. I might just make a random panel and then do a gold trim, and that just sort of be it, just like fun art. But I do kind of like this boob window. I don't know, kind of looks a bit, it's just funny because like from the front it looks very like, ooh, hello, but then from the back it's like fully covered up. So yeah, just sort of, I don't know, this week's creative push was very minimal. I don't know, it was such a funny week, because one of the things I've sort of now held myself to is to always keep myself a little bit busy. And while yes, I know burnout is real, as long as I have some sort of outlet to express that, I think I'll be fine. But I think sort of experiencing that in one spot is kind of a bit funny. I did originally ask everybody to ask me questions, and do you know what? I'll answer some of those in my basics video, because I don't know if I'm in the right mindset to be answering questions. But if you've answered questions like multiple times every time I've asked a question, don't fret. I've been screenshotting and banking them, so I will be using them eventually. It's a bit of extra effort. Maybe I'll just do a questions video. You know what? I'll do a questions video. Questions video, a basics video, those two things will exist. I'll see what I do in the next week. But yeah, no, all I've produced was this boob window top. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this week's not tutorial, or should I call it like, no. It's a not tutorial, but this week it's more of a vlog. Hope you guys all have a nice weekend. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, even though I feel like you guys would only be already following me on Instagram to be following me on this. And yeah, hope you guys have a better creative week than me. And I'll see you next week.